Our first freeze could be tonight. Find out how OU will protect the traditional campus mums, plus how things are heating up in the race for governor, and new developments in the crazy crime unfolding in a small Oklahoma town. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Addie Crawford.
And I'm Amaya Ward. We begin tonight with the early cold snap hitting Oklahoma right now.
Meteorologist Josh Duncan joins us live with the latest on what could be Norman's first freeze tonight. Josh?
Yeah, temperatures this morning were the coldest they have been in 6 months, and some parts of the state did make it below freezing this morning. We had some upper 20s in northern Oklahoma. Here in the metro, we stayed just above freezing in the mid 30s, but you definitely needed the jacket, if not the coat, out the door this morning. It's going to be a different story for tomorrow morning, as we're expecting a much larger portion of the state to be at or below freezing. By Wednesday morning, it is going to be very cold with lows in the upper 20s and lower 30s, ending the growing season for many areas across Oklahoma. But the cool down doesn't last too long. Some warmer weather is on the way by the weekend, and we're tracking chances for showers and thunderstorms. Brayden and Siau will have those details in your full forecast coming up in a few minutes. Back to you.
Thanks, Josh. With temperatures dropping across the state, jackets and sweaters are coming out. But how do plants fight the freeze? Here on campus, the historic OU mums haven't even fully bloomed yet. OU Nightly's Mack spoke with Campus Landscaping about how they keep the mums alive tonight. He joins us live from the South Oval. Noah?
Yeah, Addie, as you can see, these mums are already starting to bloom, and OU gardeners' top priority is to keep them alive. What they do is spray the mums with water so the ice will freeze around the flowers to keep it insulated. The landscaping team is watching around the clock for those temperatures to drop. When it's around 34 to 32, the gardeners are out here no matter what time or day.
I have alarms set, check the weather, and mine will let me know when the temperature here in Norman drops. So that way I have an idea. And I'm just 30 minutes away, so it's like, let's go.
I've definitely learned something new today, so if you got plants in your backyard, get out those hoses and keep them safe. Reporting live from campus, Noah Mack, OU Nightly.
I'm definitely going to cover my plants tonight. Thanks, Noah. From the mums to parking problems, some things are just tradition on campus. But this semester, the issue with parking is even worse. OU Parking Services is at the center of controversy this semester after overselling parking passes. OU Nightly's Roddy is live with how students are finding new ways to get to class.
Hey, you're going to have to live stream it, Haley.
Amaya, Addie, due to a lack of parking spaces available on campus, students tell me they're avoiding using these passes altogether and choosing alternative ways to get around.
Walking to class. For some, it's a good exercise. For others, it's a way to escape having nowhere to park.
Parking, it's so hard to find, so...
OU Parking Services has been under fire recently for overselling passes by 5,800 spots. And even as the weather turns colder, students are turning to other forms of transportation instead. For OU student Hunter, her choice is her scooter.
As long as I maintain the charge on it, I find the cold does affect the charge a little bit, but other than that, just keeping wrapped up and out of the cold, you should be fine.
Parking Services has been active on their social media about parking availability, but some students who even have the pass would rather avoid the hassle.
I find this cuts my walking time to class from 15 minutes down to 3 to 5, so it's really nice.
For some students, the question still remains: buying the $275 pass and risking having no parking spot, or brace the cold on foot, bike, or some other kind of wheels.
For students who have classes during peak hours of the day, using something like this, a scooter, could actually help them beat the rush and save a little extra money while they're at it. Reporting live, Roddy, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Bella. OU Parking Services has declined our request for an interview, but previously stated that there are currently no plans to add more parking spaces. Just more than 24 hours before the first and only governor's debate in Oklahoma, and tension is mounting. OU Nightly reporter Purpura is live at the update desk. Pepper?
Amaya, Addie, on the day of the governor's debate, a GOP PAC will launch a 7-figure ad campaign against Democrat Joy Hoffmeister. The ads will align Hoffmeister with President Biden and blame her for higher gas prices. Stitz says he is also being targeted by attack ads, what he calls dark money groups, that he suspects are funded by the tribes. The ads will air tomorrow, the same day both candidates are scheduled to debate. News 9 and Non-Doc will kick off the event at 5:30 tomorrow at the Will Rogers Theater. To hear from a breakdown of the issues both candidates are facing, tune in to OU Nightly before the debate. I'll be discussing the hot topics of this race with OU Nightly reporter Dakota McDowell-Wakapeche. Live in the update desk, I'm Purpura, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Pepper. There's new information tonight in the murders of 4 men in Okmulgee. They were found shot, dismembered, and dumped in the Deep Fork River. Tonight we know a man police called a person of interest was arrested in Dayton Beach, Florida. Detectives say he was in a stolen vehicle. He's being held on a charge of grand theft of a motor vehicle, but he's being held without bond. Police have not yet released why this man is a person of interest and have not named him a suspect in the murders.
Overseas, Ukraine endures civilian attacks from Russia. Donovan has that and the rest of today's international headlines from the News Center.
Yes, Amaya, the Russia-Ukraine war continues, leaving thousands of Ukrainians without running water or electricity. This comes after Moscow fired a barrage of missiles aimed at civilian areas last week. The great loss of power stations has forced Ukrainians to limit their water and electricity use. The country is bracing for more chaos and uncertainty as winter nears. President Joe Biden promises an abortion rights law as the Democratic Party tries to rally voters. At a Democratic National Committee event today, the president says Congress should codify Roe v. Wade. This would guarantee a federal constitutional right to abortions. But the president says in order to make it succeed, Democrats need control of the House and Senate. Workers in France are taking to the streets to protest the cost of living. Among these demonstrating are teachers and transit workers demanding higher pay. This comes as electricity bills are surging as a result of a cut in Russian natural gas. Alongside wage demands, workers are also defending their right to strike. And Hollywood trailblazer Anna Mae Wong, known as the first Asian American film star, will also be the first Asian American on U.S. currency. That's all for today's international headlines.
Thanks, Donovan. When we come back, a rule change from the FDA allows more people to get the items they need for daily life.
We'll tell you what it is and where you can find it.
Luxury car manufacturer is broadening its horizons.
Find out a new way you can ride in style starting next year. Thanks, Austin. Purchasing necessary items just got a little bit easier for people who are hard of hearing. Summer Miller has that story and more in Science and Technology.
That's right, Addie. Hearing aids can now be purchased over the counter for the first time ever. Following a rule change by the FDA in August, the hearing devices can be bought without an exam, prescription, or fitting. White House officials say they will soon be available at major retailers, including Walgreens and CVS. Rolls-Royce announced it will begin production on its first electric car next year. The car will have 2 doors and be longer than a Cadillac Escalade. It will include a feature that displays 5,800 stars in the interior cabin. The luxury car brand says it plans to go fully electric by 2030. And tiny robots are hard at work in a North Carolina city, delivering coffee and food. The company Tiny Miles is piloting the robotic delivery program in Uptown Charlotte with little pink robots. You simply order on the app, input your location, and once the robot arrives, use your phone to unlock its lid. If the pilot program is a success, Tiny Miles says it may add more. Delivery robots are not new to our mobile ordering. but these just may be the cutest ones I've seen yet. Back to you guys at the desk.
Well, my favorite color is actually pink, so I love it. Thanks, Summer. Coming up on OU Nightly, a new tradition starting in Norman.
Stick around for more on how the city is interacting with all its cultures.
In Brayden, how about that weather? What can we expect this week?
Well, guys, it is definitely a lot colder out there today, and it's only going to get colder tonight. So coming up, I'll have a look on what we can expect your temperatures to fall to tonight. Welcome back to OU Nightly, and if you were out and about Saturday night, then you definitely noticed the line of storms that we had move through the state, especially across the southern 2/3 of the state. Take a look at how much rain we got here in Lawton, almost 2 inches, and then Ardmore and Idabel, they all received over 1 inch of rainfall on Saturday night. Now looking at the drought, we have still an intense drought going on across the state. We're still over 10 inches below where we should be this time of year. We should be having over 31.5 inches of rain. We've only had a little over 20. Now looking at the current temperatures across the state, you can see across the board pretty much we're sitting in the mid to upper 50s with the exception of Guyman. They're a little bit warmer, sitting in the mid 60s. Now looking at these current wind gusts across the state, you can see this wind streaming in from the north at 15 to 20 miles per hour, and that's helping to create a little bit cooler of a feeling than it actually is out there today. Now these dew points are extremely low. Dew point temperatures, I should say, are in the teens and even single digits, which is helping to create some very dry air out there. Now looking at the minimum temperatures we saw last night, you can see that most of us fell into the mid to upper 30s, but there were a few lower 30s and even some 20s out there last night, and it's only going to get colder. Tonight we have a freeze warning in place across the majority of the state. The only place we don't have it is here across southwestern Oklahoma, but this is because temperatures are going to fall into the lower 30s and even some upper 20s across parts of the state. Now looking at the first freeze that we're supposed to see is not until the end of October, but we could be tying our seventh earliest freeze tonight in the Oklahoma City metro area. Now you may be wondering when the first snowfall is, since we're dealing with these cooler temperatures, and that doesn't come until the middle of December. Now looking at the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook, you can see here across the southern plains we are expecting above average precipitation, and then the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook shows below average temperatures in the west and above average temperatures in the east, but near normal temperatures here across the southern plains. Now lows tonight, like I said, we're dipping into the 30s here across the metro. Look at the northeastern corner of the state, getting down into the 20s. Now looking at highs tomorrow, temperatures will be rising into the 60s, and then our 7-day forecast shows temperatures trending upwards into the weekend and then cooling down into next week. Over to you at the desk.
Thanks, Brayden. OU moving to the SEC has been a hot topic since its announcement.
Yes, it certainly has. Jimmy Wicks has more of the timing details in sports. Jimmy?
That's right, guys. We have big news regarding OU and Texas's move to the SEC. We will tell you when and where. And there was an overtime thriller last night in the City of Angels. Sports is next. We've got the NBA returning, an overtime thriller in LA, and an update from Big 12 Basketball Media Day. Hello, I'm Jimmy Wicks, and it's time for sports. But first, we lob it to OU Nightly's Tyler DeLuca in Kansas City, who gives us an update on OU women's basketball.
Big 12 basketball tip-off is underway here in Kansas City, and that means that Oklahoma women's basketball is just on the horizon. After hosting in March Madness and exceeding expectations in year one of the Jenny Baranczyk era, Baranczyk herself believes that there is no ceiling for this OU team.
I don't think there is a par, and I don't think there's a ceiling. I think this team is really special. I think it's really unique, and it's a team that shows up every day. I mean, literally, I think every single day we come to practice, and we've had great practices. And we took a foreign tour in the summer.
OU does maintain the majority of their roster from last year's March Madness run, including their 3 super seniors, Maddie Williams, Taylor Robertson, and Anna Yanusa. And in their unique COVID year, they have their sights set on one thing, a ring.
I just think we have high expectations for us, like our team and us 3, and we have so much belief that we didn't really get to do exactly what we wanted to. We want to win a championship.
And I mentioned that we're going for a ring, and before we left, we were going to get one. So that's the ambitious I was talking about.
Oklahoma opens up their season November 7th against Oral Roberts at the Lloyd Noble Center. Reporting here at the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, Tyler DeLuca, OU Nightly.
And some more big news in the Big 12 with OU and Texas committing to stay in the conference through 2025. Rather than bolting to the SEC, Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark said his experience with OU and Texas has been, quote, very positive. And the Stars were out in Los Angeles Monday night with Justin Herbert hosting Russell Wilson and the Broncos. Russ was indeed cooking in the first half, hitting Greg Dulcich down the sideline for a 39-yard touchdown. And midway through the second, Austin Eckler punched it in from 6 yards out to make the score 10-7. And after a pair of field goals in the fourth, we got free football in the City of Angels. Following a muff punt by Denver, Dustin Hopkins nailed a 39-yard field goal on one leg to seal the win 19-6. And the wait is finally over. The NBA season tips off with the 76ers heading to the TD Garden to face new arrival Blake Griffin and the Boston Celtics tonight at 6:30 on TNT. Then the world champion Golden State Warriors face a former Sooner standout Austin Reeves and the Los Angeles Lakers. Tip-off is at 9 p.m. And I don't know about y'all, I am super excited to have the NBA back in action. Addie, Amaya, back to you.
I am 100% ready for basketball season after my poor Dodgers lost to the Padres in the playoffs. I am ready for basketball season. What about you, Amaya?
Me too. I'm a big Dallas Mavs fan, and they kick off tomorrow with the Suns, Addie.
Oh no, that's my team.
I know. Look at that color.
Don't be fooled by this blue because I am a Suns fan.
You should have worn purple. Well, up next, one of a kind concert brings some to tears.
Stick around for how it brought people together.
I'm Snowforth at the OU Nightly Update Desk. The Biden administration is communicating with Russia again to secure the release of Brittany Griner and Paul Whelan, who are currently in Russian jail. However, the administration has not received a serious counteroffer from the Russian side yet. Addie, Amaya, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Snow. A unique and powerful concert honors people with disabilities in St. Paul, Minnesota.
A music therapist organized it, hoping it to make a bigger impact on the community.
It was in the works before the pandemic, but was later delayed to this year.
Some of the attendees said it left them speechless and with tears of joy in their eyes.
I love that story. Definitely a special moment.
I do too, but let's take one last look at the weather. Brayden?
Yeah, guys, right now temperatures are in the mid-50s, but these are going to be plummeting as we head into the rest of tonight. And that's why we have a freeze warning in place across pretty much the entire state of Oklahoma, as temperatures are expected to fall into the 30s and even 20s tonight. So if you have any sensitive plants outside, make sure to bring those inside. And looking at the 7-day forecast, you can see after the freeze tonight, we're going to be warming up nicely as we head into the weekend. A storm system is expected to move through on Sunday and Monday before temperatures cool down just a little bit by Tuesday and the rain moves away. Over to you at the desk.
Thanks, Brayden. With chilly weather and Halloween just around the corner, that means it's time to hit the pumpkin patch. McFarland Methodist Church holds a pumpkin patch fundraiser for every year for its music department. Associate Director of Music Stephen Wurst says the funding goes to the group.
The best part is everybody who comes back every year. There are some people who came here as kids who now have kids of their own, and they get to bring and share that with them, and I just think that's one of the most special moments that you can see.
McFarland Pumpkin Patch is on the corner of Apache Street and University Boulevard, open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. I definitely am looking forward to going to the pumpkin patch.
Me too. I love carving pumpkins and Halloween. I just love everything about fall.
Me too. Thanks for tuning in to OU Nightly.
We're live every weekday at 4:30 from Gaylord Hall.
Good night.